So this is a very important verse. Srila Prabhupada has given more than, I think, 28 lectures on this one verse of Bhagavad-Gita. And there's two important principles here. One is Mai Asakta, to become attached to Krishna. So in short, this is the whole goal or the aim of bhakti is to become attached to Krishna. And how is that possible? Tat Shrinu, by hearing, by Shravanam. That's the beginning. In this verse, there is two important principles. One is asakti, or attachment. So that is the essence of Krishna consciousness, is to become attached to Lord Krishna. In very short, that's the shortest definition of bhakti. That is to become attached. Asakti. And the second principle is tat shrinu, is to hear. So we can develop this attachment to Lord Krishna by hearing either directly from Lord Krishna or from his pure devotee representative. So that is the whole bhakti process in very nutshell, in a capsule. That too, and here also Srila Prabhupada is quoting this Shrinvatam Swakatha Krishna, these 5 verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam. These 5 verses, they encapsulate the whole bhakti process from the beginning till the end. So we'll be discussing this during today's talk. So yeah, asakti is a very, it's like the basic principle of bhakti. Attachment. And what do we mean by attachment? A very good understanding or definition of attachment is that which we cannot live without. Which we can't live without that. And Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya has given a very nice verse describing our present attachments. He says that Balas Tavad Kridasakta. While in childhood, all children, they are attached to playing. And we cannot stop that. If we stop a child from playing, he'll cry. He won't be able to live. He can't survive. Right? All of us, in our childhood, we are all attached to playing. Tarunas tavat taruni rakta. And in our youthhood, we are attached to the opposite gender. Boys and girls, they are automatically attracted to each other. And the attachment becomes so strong that they cannot live without each other. That's why the parents have to get them married, and they settle down, they have children, they have a family, and then they can live. And if you don't allow that, then the children, they run away from home or sometimes commit suicide because they just can't live without it. That's called attachment. I can't live without this. And vriddhastava chinta magna. In our old age, we are worried, or we become very thoughtful about what we've done in life and all the opportunities that we've missed, or the wrong decisions that we made, or what will happen in the future. But parama brahmane kopina lagna. Nobody is thinking about the absolute truth. Nobody is attached to the absolute truth. So this is what we're supposed to, in Krishna consciousness or in Bhakti Yoga, this is the principle. We have to develop attachment to Krishna, which means that a devotee won't be able to live without Krishna. He cannot, without hearing about Krishna, without visiting Lord Krishna's temple, without serving his deity form, or without preaching his glories, without chanting the holy names. Sometimes some devotees are attached to kirtan. They can't stay without kirtan. Every day they need to do some kirtan. Or some devotees are attached to staying in the holy dham, where they can easily remember the pastimes of the Lord. So in this way, that is devotional service. To become attached to Krishna, his name, his form, his beauty, his pastimes, and his services. And that can be developed by, the beginning is hearing, to hear about Lord Krishna. So that's why Shravanam or this Krishna Katha is so important. The more we hear and discuss, the more we become attached. Then we can't live without it. We become hooked. In English there's a word, hooked. We can't give it up. So that's very good. That's a good symptom. But all of us, we face obstacles in this. And those obstacles are our material attachments. They are our, things which we cannot live without materially. Just like before, it used to be, family, or it used to be wife, children, husband, all these things. But nowadays, it's becoming more and more online. It's becoming, some people are highly attached to their mobile phones, smartphones, because everything is available just at one click. It's just a click away. So there's different kinds of attachments, and these things, they hamper our devotional life. They hamper our attachment to Lord Krishna. It's a deviation, kind of like a detour. So, if we want to advance in our spiritual life, then being introspective, we should check where is our attachment. What can't we live without? And we have to try to minimize our dependence on material things and focus our dependence on Lord Krishna and His glorification, His holy name, His pastimes, all these things. Why are we attached to material things? It's like money or gadgets or relationships, and of course relationships aren't always material, but if it's based on materialism. Here there's another concept of bodily pleasure and the pleasure of the soul. There's a nice verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Ramante yoginam anante, that the yogis, they derive unlimited happiness, satyanande chidatmani, and that happiness is it's real happiness, satya ananda. So when we talk about satya ananda, then at the same time there is mithyananda or false happiness. Is my voice clear? Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay. So there is mithyananda or false happiness, and that is the happiness of the bodily plane. That's the happiness that our body requires. Basically eating, sleeping, mating and defending. So these things are requirements for the body. But these things don't give happiness to the soul. As you all know, we are all practicing the spiritual path. So the very basics or the very beginning of spiritual path is that we are not this body, but we are the spirit soul. We are the Atma. So we have to take care of both sides. We have to take care of our bodily needs and requirements, and we have to give more priority to the requirements of the soul, or to our personal requirements. That means on the level of Atma. So the requirements of the body, they give so-called happiness. We experience some kind of happiness, but that happiness is described here as mithya ananda or false happiness, and that is actually just a decrease of our anxiety. When we decrease our anxiety or we decrease our distress, then we accept it or we conceive it as happiness. For example, somebody is very hot. Now I'm sure it's hot there also. It's peak summer, and this year is more hot than all other years. So in such a heat, if somebody comes into a nice AC restaurant or a nice AC house, then he feels some kind of happiness. That it's so hot outside, and here I'm so happy. I have come to this AC room, and it's so nice and cold, and I'm feeling so nice. And actually, this is not positive happiness, rather this is just a decrease of our distress. Outside we were too hot, we were in a distress condition, and once we come into this air-conditioned room, our distress is decreased, and we consider that as happiness. Somebody is feeling very hungry and he has a pain in his stomach because of the hunger, and once he eats a good meal, that pain is reduced and he feels happy. He considers that to be happiness. But these things don't give positive happiness. They only decrease our pain, or they only decrease our distress. If food would give us happiness, then we would be more happy to eat more and more. But we feel happy only until our hunger is met, only until our hunger is, quenched. And then that same food gives us distress. If we continue eating after a full stomach, then that very same food will give us distress. It will cause us to throw up and make us sick. And if we continue staying in that AC room for the whole night with full AC, then that same air conditioner will give us trouble, because the only purpose was to decrease the heat. And if it continues and then it gets too cold, then that same air condition gives us distress. And that's why Lord Krishna is telling Shita Ushna Sukha Dukkhada, that happiness and pain, happiness and distress, and heat and cold, all of this has to be tolerated, because this can't give happiness to the Atma, this can't give happiness to the soul. It's only relieving our distress on the physical platform or on the mental platform at most. But when hearing Krishna Katha, if we hear the pastimes of Lord Krishna, especially from a pure devotee who loves Lord Krishna, if we are able to hear the pastimes from such devotees, then that actually gives happiness to the heart. That actually gives happiness on the spiritual plane, on the Atma, level of Atma. And that is called true happiness, Satyanande. Because all of us have a relation with Lord Krishna, or whichever form of the Lord. It's just we have forgotten that relationship, and we are in this false conception that I am this body. In this life I am thinking, I am a human being, I am a male, I am a female, I am handsome, I am young, I am old, whatever. And after 100 years, we will be thinking something else. We will be in a different body, identifying as something else completely. So this isn't our real identity. This is temporary, and this is based on the body we have received. But our true identity, if we can develop that, then that, in relation with Lord Krishna, that's our real identity. So on that platform, when we relate to Lord Krishna, when we serve Lord Krishna, and that we feel real happiness, Satyanande Chidatmani, from the knowledge of the soul, from the knowledge of our relationship with Lord Krishna. So by hearing, by Shravanam, one can develop his relationship with the Lord. So it's very important to keep a watch on our attachment. This is a famous story of Jad Bharat, King Bharat, who was the son of Rishabdev. Rishabdev is a Shakti avatar of the Lord, and he had 100 children, 100 sons. He was a king, and he gave very good instructions to his sons. And this is in the fifth canto of the third canto, I think. Either third or fifth canto. I think the fifth canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's very ideal instructions. Srila Prabhupada gave many lectures on them also. Na ayam deha deha bhajan nirloke kashtan kaman arhate veed bhujam ye tapo divyam putraka yena shuddhet yasmad brahma sokhyam tvanantam. So Rishabdev is teaching his children that, my dear sons, this human form of life is not meant to enjoy like the hogs and dogs. That means just to enjoy the body. It's not meant for that. We have enjoyed our physical body millions and millions of lives in so many different species. Basically eating, sleeping, having a family and defending. This is the enjoyment of the body, which have been done in millions of lives. But this human form is not meant for that. Tapo Divyam Putraka, this human form is meant for spiritual austerities. And why? Because by executing spiritual austerities, Shuddhayet, Sattva Shuddhayet, that means our existence becomes purified. We come to the level of the soul. Instead of being on the bodily platform, we can come to the soul platform. And Brahma Saukyam Tvanantam, we can enjoy unlimited spiritual bliss. So that's the goal, or that's the mission of the human life, to be able to enjoy unlimited spiritual bliss on the spiritual platform, to enjoy with Lord Krishna and his pastimes and his service. So in this way, Rishabdev educated his children very nicely, and from that education, 80 of his children, they become brahmanas. They became, qualified brahmanas, and they practice spiritual life. 10 of his other children became kshatriyas, they became kings, and all of them were ruling this earth under the guidance of the eldest son, that was Bharat Maharaj. And 9 of his children became Paramahansas. They are known as the Navayogendras. So that was the breakdown of his children. All of them became qualified. So he instructed all his 10 sons, the 9 other sons, to rule this earth under the guidance of the eldest brother, Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj was a very qualified king and a devotee of the Lord. In due course of time, he gave up his kingdom, his family, and he went to the forest to practice meditation and sacrifices to attain the Supreme Lord. And he was elevated, he highly elevated his consciousness. He started to feel love towards the Lord. Tears used to flow from his eyes, and his hairs used to stand on end, and he would meditate on the Supreme Lord. He would pray to the Supreme Lord every day. And it was an ideal life. But suddenly, one day, it happened that there was a pregnant deer who was drinking water at the river, and she heard a lion roaring, and out of fear she jumped to cross the river and escape. But when she jumped, then she gave birth to her young one. She gave birth to her doe, the baby deer. So the baby deer fell into the river and was being washed away. The mother, she died on the spot out of fear and due to the miscarriage. She died, and there was nobody to take care of the baby deer. And the lion was also approaching. So Bharat Maharaj, being a devotee of the Lord, he was soft-hearted, and he acted out of compassion. He went and saved the baby deer. He kept it with him in his ashram, and he raised it. So that was nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with compassion, showing compassion to other living entities. But there was one thing he was not careful, was gradually he started to develop attachment towards that deer. It is described that while meditating, while doing his daily sessions of meditations or chanting the mantras and doing the yagyas, gradually, instead of thinking of the Lord and feeling ecstasy, he started to meditate upon that baby deer. Because the baby deer considered Bharat Maharaj to be his mother and father. That was the only person who cared for him from his birth. So he treated Bharat Maharaj as his father, and Bharat Maharaj also started to treat that small baby deer as his son, as his dependent. And gradually he became attached. Without his own knowledge, he was not aware of it, but slowly he was becoming attached, and he was thinking of the deer. during his meditation, instead of thinking of the Lord, thoughts of his deer started to occupy his mind, and he was infatuated. He was very much captivated by the deer's beauty and his affectionate behavior. So this is attachment. This is the attachment. He had given up attachment towards his kingdom. He had given up attachment for his wife and children. But here again he became attached to a small baby deer. And one night the deer didn't return to the ashram, and Bharat Maharaj suspected that maybe some mishappening, maybe some wild animal has caught it, or maybe he has fallen from the hill somewhere. And he went out searching for this baby deer. And during the search, he slipped from a mountain top and he fell down, which caused his death. He died because of that. But during the time of his leaving his body, his mind was focused on this baby deer. Is he okay? Is he well? Did any animal eat him? And in this way, with his mind thinking of the deer, he left his body. He died. And as a result, he got the body of a deer. This is also the Bhagavad-Gita, 8th chapter, Lord Krishna is telling. Antakale chamameva. At the end, if one remembers Lord Krishna, then he returns back to whom? Back to God. But on the other hand, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tejatyante kalevaram. Whatever one remembers or focuses on at the time of death, that he will attain for sure. So Bharat Maharaj, thinking of a deer, he attained the body of a deer. So this is the result of attachment. It's a very small thing, but it's very consequential. It has a very big consequence. So we as devotees, as practicing devotees, we have to be careful about this, about attachment. And the same question was asked by Mother Devahuti to her son Kapiladev, that my dear son, I am very much attached to material things, so please guide me, tell me, how can I be free from this attachment? So Kapil Dev is replying, Prasangam ajaram pasham atmana kavayo vidu sa eva sadhu sukrito moksha dwaram apavratam. My dear mother, all great learned saintly persons, they say that material attachment is the cause of bondage. That's true. But that same attachment, if applied to pure devotees or sadhus, that very same attachment opens the door of liberation. Moksha dwaram apavratam. So that same attachment, if it's applied rightly to the saintly persons or the pure devotees, that opens the door of our liberation. So yeah, that's what we have to do with our attachment. We have to become attached to pure devotees, those who are attached to Lord Krishna. Directly being attached to Krishna is maybe sometimes difficult, so that's why it's prescribed that we should find out those people who have developed attachment for Lord Krishna, and we should become attached to them. And naturally, if we become attached to them, if we cannot live without a pure devotee's association, attachment means we cannot live without it. Yeah, just like now, we are attached to our bodily comforts, we are attached to our mental comforts. We want to be in our comfort zone, or we have our likes and dislikes. We want to remain in that. But if we become attached to a pure devotee, then we won't be able to stay without him. We will always be in his association. We'll try to be close to him. And the benefit is that he will always engage us in bhajan, in Krishna Katha, in Krishna Kirtan, in Krishna Nam. A pure devotee is attached to the holy name, or he's attached to Lord Krishna's pastimes. So naturally he will always be glorifying Lord Krishna, he will always be discussing about Lord Krishna, and we will be benefited by hearing and chanting along with the pure devotee or the pure devotees. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is giving these 5 verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Shinvatam Sokatha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Hridyantasto Yabhadrani Vidunoti Suritsatam. If one becomes attached to hearing Shinvatam Sokatha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtanam. And before that there's a verse. What's the verse before that? Can somebody read the purport? Or is that the first verse? There's 5 verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Which verse is on the database?
Yeah, I mean it's in the purport. There, Srila Prabhupada is quoting 5 verses from the Bhagavatam. It's in the purport of this verse. 7.1.
Okay. So, yeah, in the purport we have Shavana, Patha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana, Hridyantasto Abhyarani Vidyamista. Nasta Prayeshu Mantreshwar Mrityum Bhagavata Sevaya. That's one verse.
Yeah. So yeah, if we daily or repeatedly, all the time, if we hear Krishna Katha, then gradually the Lord sitting within our heart, He becomes very pleased and He destroys all abhadra, all the dirty things from our heart. He removes it. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevya. Yeah, here this was the point. Nityam bhagavata sevya. So Srila Prabhupada describes nityam as always or regularly. The beginning is regularly, but then nityam means always. All the time discussing Krishna's pastimes, discussing Krishna's glories. This is the highest good thing we can do. From beginning to end, this is the best. To always discuss and hear and glorify Lord Krishna's pastimes. Nashta prayeshu vadreshu nityam bhagavata sevya. So Bhagavat seva can be of 2 kinds. One is hearing and glorifying the Srimad Bhagavatam, the pastimes of the Lord, and the other is to serve the pure devotee, the person who is a living Bhagavatam, who is following the principles of the Srimad Bhagavatam in his life. So if we do this nicely, Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke, Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So we develop devotional service towards the Supreme Lord, and we come to the level of Nishtha. Nishtha means when we are free from the anarthas. So when we practice devotional life, there are certain speed breakers, there are certain things which hamper our devotional life, and those are called anarthas or unnecessary things. Like we're practicing spiritual life, everything is going okay, and suddenly something happens, we have some material attachment, and because of that all of our devotional practices, they're shaken up or they're shuffled around. So those are called anarthas or unnecessary things. And if we regularly hear and discuss the glories of the Lord, then these anarthas are washed away, they're cleared out. Haribol? Yeah. So once we get rid of these unwanted things, then tada rajas tamo bhava kama lobhadayascha cheta etair anavriddham sthitam sattve prasidati. When we are free from the anarthas, and Srila Prabhupada has described these anarthas as the 4 regulative principles: no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, and no intoxication. When we are able to give up these unwanted things, then we can progress on the path of devotional service. Tada rajas tamo bhava. Then we become free from the effects of passion and ignorance, which are symptomized by lust and greediness. Very strong hankering for material things, or a strong attachment to material things. That's the mode of passion. And anger and a sense of revenge or frustration, these are all symptoms of the mode of ignorance. So we become free from the modes of passion and ignorance. Cheta etair anaviddham sthitam sattve prasidati. And we become situated in the mode of goodness. And being in the mode of goodness, we become happy. Prasidati, that means prasanna, that means happiness. So happiness can be found only when we come to the mode of goodness. And how did we come to the mode of goodness? By hearing Krishna Katha, by discussing Krishna Katha regularly, we get rid of passion and ignorance and only goodness remains.